Hello my dear students and welcome back to Zenit Tutorials. Today's video lesson is about the chapter The Blue Bead written by Norah Burke. This is a part of ICSE syllabus for class 9th and 10th taken from the textbook Treasure Trove. So this is part 1 of the full chapter explanation wherein I have given the pictorial word meanings of difficult words. So let's get started. From deep water came the crocodile. Out of black water, curved with whirlpools. You can see the picture of whirlpool. What is whirlpool? A quickly rotating mass of water in a river or sea into which objects may be drawn in. So from deep water came the crocodile. Out of black water, curved with whirlpools and into the frill of gold. Here the gold implies brown color. So and into the frill of gold shallows. A shallow is an area of the sea, lake or a river where water is not very deep. So the crocodile came into the frill of gold shallows by the stepping stones. You can see there is a picture I have given of stepping stones. Stepping stones are those stones on which we can keep our steps and walk ahead. So he was twice the length of a tall man, and inside him among the stones which he had swallowed, that is engulfed, to aid, that is help in digestion, rolled a silver bracelet. So children, this is the first mention of the silver bracelet which he had engulfed inside him. Timber. Timber means the wood of the trees. You can see a picture of timber that is floating. So timber was being floated down this great Indian river from forests further up. And there were sleepers lying stuck around the stones. What are sleepers? You can see the picture of sleepers that I have given on the extreme right. And there were sleepers lying stuck around the stones until someone came to dislodge, that is remove them, and send them on their way, or until floods, that is an overflow of large amount of water beyond its normal limits. So until floods lifted them and jostled them. Jostle means push them forcefully. Until floods lifted them and jostled them along. The crocodile had no need to hide himself. He came to rest in the glassy shallows. Glassy means shining. So he came to rest in the glassy shallows among logs and balanced there on tiptoe. You can see a man standing on tiptoes. So on the tip of the toes. On the rippled sand. You can see the picture of rippled sand. With only his raised eyes out of the water and raised nostrils breathing the clean sunny air. Around him, broad sparkling water travelled between cliffs. You can see the picture of cliffs here. So I have marked it with red. So slightly raised platform near the river is a cliff. And grass and forested hills. You can see the picture. A jungle track. You can see a boy walking on the jungle track. A jungle track came out of a scrub each side and down to the sun-whitened stepping stones on which a little flycatcher was flirting and trilling along. The mugger crocodile. What is a mugger crocodile? I have given the picture of a mugger crocodile. It is blackish brown above and yellowy white under. So the mugger crocodile lay motionless, able to wait forever till food came. This antediluvian, that is antediluvian means very old. So this antediluvian saurian, saurian is any large reptile. So this antediluvian saurian, this prehistoric means something which has been in existence from very old time. So this prehistoric juggernaut. What is juggernaut? It's a massive inexorable force or object that crushes whatever is in its path. So that is why crocodile is called as juggernaut. Ferocious and formidable. Children, you have to learn these keywords for describing the crocodile. So here they have given the words antediluvian saurian, prehistoric juggernaut, ferocious and formidable. What is formidable? Inspiring fear through being impressively large or powerful. A vast force in the water, propelled by, that is driven by the unimaginable and irresistible power of the huge tail, lay lapped by means wrapped in. So lay lapped by ripples, a throb means a strong regular beat of sound, a throb in his throat, his mouth running almost the whole length of his head, was closed and fixed in that evil bony smile. Evil means wicked. and where the yellow underside came up to it, it was tinged, that is slightly colored with green. Children, I want you to read this slide again and again, because this is a short question for this year. That the question would be to describe the crocodile. Okay, to describe the crocodile that Sibia encountered. So these are the keywords that you should learn. So please go through this slide again. Now let's move ahead. From the day perhaps 100 years ago, when the sun had hatched, hatch means to cause an egg to break in order to allow the young animal to come out. You can see an egg hatching and a crocodile coming out. So from the day perhaps 100 years ago, when the sun had hatched him in a sandbank. What is a sandbank? A deposit of sand forming a shallow area in a sea or a river. And he had broken his shell and got his head out and looked around, ready to snap. Snap means to break suddenly and completely, typically with a sharp cracking sound, at anything before he was even fully hatched. From that day, when he had at once made for the water, ready to fend for himself. So what do you mean by fend? Fend means to look after and provide for oneself without any help from others. So ready to fend for himself immediately. He had lived by his brainless craft. Craft is any skill involved in carrying out one's work, and ferocity. So here the crocodile is said to have a brainless craft because no brain is used in this craft, and its ferocity. Escaping the birds of prey. Birds of prey means a bird that feeds on animal flesh. So escaping the birds of prey and the great carnivorous. Carnivorous are those animals which feed on another animals. And escaping the great carnivorous fishes that eat baby crocodiles. He has prospered, catching all the food he needed and storing it till putrid. Putrid means rotten, which is emitting foul smell. And storing it till putrid means rotten हो जाने तक store किया है. And storing it till putrid in holes in the bank. Tepid water. Tepid means slightly warm or lukewarm. So tepid water to live in and plenty of rotted food grew him to his great length. So children, these two factors, that is tepid water and a lot of food, plenty of rotted food, were the two factors which helped him to grow and achieve this great length. Now nothing could pierce, that is penetrate, the inch thick armored hide. The hide means skin, a protective skin, and it was inch thick, means it was 1 inch thick. So now nothing could pierce the inch thick armored hide, not even rifle bullets which would bounce off. Only the eyes and the soft underarms offered a place. So these were the two places where he could be attacked. He lived well in the river, sunning himself sometimes with other crocodiles. Sunning himself means exposing himself to sunlight. Himself sometimes with other crocodiles or muggers, as well as the long-snouted fish-eating gharials, on warm rocks and sandbags, where the sun dried the clay on them quite white, and where they could plop off, that is drop or place something or someone in a heavy or careless way. So they could plop off into the water in a moment if alarmed, that is if they feel frightened or disturbed or in danger. So who were the companions of this crocodile? Muggers as well as long-snouted fish-eating gharials. The big crocodile fed mostly on fish, but also on deer and monkeys who come to drink, perhaps a duck or two. But sometimes here at the ford means a shallow place in a river or stream, allowing one to walk or drive across. You can see the picture of a ford I have given here. So he fed on pie dog. Pie dog is a wild Asian dog, often roaming in packs in and around villages. So he fed on a pie dog full of parasites or a skeleton cow. You can see a skeleton cow whose skeleton is visible. And sometimes he went down to the burning ghats and found the half-burned bodies of Indians cast into the stream. Cast means throw something forcefully in a specified direction. So the Indians cast their half-burned bodies in the ghats. So the crocodile went there and found these half-burned bodies of the Indian cast into stream. So besides him in the shoals as he lay waiting, glimmered, that is shine faintly with a wavering light, a blue gem. So beside him in the shoals there was a blue gem that was glimmering, that is, it was shining. It was not a gem though, it was sand-worn glass. What is a sand-worn glass? So naturally produced sea glass originates as piece of glass from broken bottles, broken tableware or even shipwrecks, which are rolled and tumbled in the ocean or river for years until all of their edges are rounded off. You can see the picture of a sand-worn glass. It looks like beads or gems. So it was not a gem though, it was a sand-worn glass that had been rolling about in a river for a long time. By chance, it was perforated right through. Perforated means pierced, made a hole. By chance, it was perforated right through the neck of the bottle, perhaps a blue bead. So children, this is the first appearance of the blue bead. A question can be asked on this. Where was the blue bead first sighted in the chapter? And you have to write something about the blue bead. That where it was kept, where it was seen. So it was seen just lying next to the crocodile, and where was the piercing on that, where was the perforation. So you have to mention everything. So please read this very carefully. In the shrill noise village above the ford, out of a mud house the same color as ground, came a little girl, a thin starveling, that is undernourished child, dressed in a earth colored rag. Rag is a piece of old cloth, especially one torn from a larger piece. She had torn the rag in two to make skirt and sari. So children, you should remember this. This is the first appearance of Sibia. So she came out of a mud house, the same color as the ground. So this little girl's color was dusky, the same color as the ground. Okay, so her complexion was wheatish. So how can you prove her complexion was wheatish? So you have to quote these words, this line. Sibia was eating the last of her meal, chapati wrapped around a smear of green chili and rancid butter. Now what is rancid butter? Rancid is something smelling or tasting unpleasant as a result of being old and stale. And she divided this also to make it seem more, and bit it, showing straight white teeth. So children, you have to remember that her complexion was wheatish, she had white teeth, and that she was undernourished and very thin. With her ebony means heavy blackish or very dark brown. So with her ebony hair and great eyes and her skin of oiled brown cream, she was a happy, immature child woman, about 12 years old. So why she's been called immature child and woman about 12 years old? Because although she was an immature child of 12 years, but she did all the work that a woman does. Now, barefoot, of course, and often goozy cold. Goozy cold means affected with goosebumps on a winter morning, and born to toil. Toil means to work extremely hard or constantly. So she was born to toil, that is, she was born to work extremely hard. So children, these things you can write when you are describing the personality of Sibia. In all her life, she had never owned anything but a rag. She had never owned even one anna, not a pice, not a pie, even to buy, say, a handful of blown glass beads from that stall in the bazaar. Bazaar is market. Now children, what is anna, pice and pie? Here you can see I have given anna. Anna is a former monetary unit of India and Pakistan, which is equal to 1/16th of a rupee. And pice is 1/4 of an anna. And pie, what is pie? Anna was subdivided into 4 old paisa or 12 pies. Thus there were 192 pies in a rupee. So it means she had no money to buy the glass beads from the stall in the bazaar, or one of the thin glass bangles that the man kept on a stick, and you could choose which color you would have. You can see the bangles on the stick. I have given a picture for you to visualize. She knew what finery was. What is finery? Finery is expensive or ostentatious clothes or decoration. So she knew what finery was though. She had been with her parents and brothers all through the jungle to the little town at the railhead. What is railhead, children? It's a point on the railway from which roads and other transport routes begin. So it's just the end of the railway line where there was this bazaar. And she had walked through all the milling people. What is milling? Milling means moving around in a confused mass. So she had walked through all the milling people and dogs and monkeys full of fleas. What is fleas? Here you can see the picture of fleas. It's a small wingless jumping insect which feeds on the blood of mammals and birds. So she had seen all the milling people and the dogs and monkeys full of fleas. So monkeys and dogs had these fleas on them. The idling, gossiping, bargaining humanity. So this she is talking about the humans, that they were idle, they were gossiping and they were bargaining. And spitting beetle juice. You can see a man spitting beetle juice. Beetle is a type of a supari which is used in pan. So when you have that, you spit it out. Heard the bell of a sacred bull clonking. Clonking means making a dull, hollow, thumping sound. You can see a sacred bull here as he lumped along through the dust and hubbub. What is hubbub, children? Hubbub is a lot of noise made by them together. So when so many people are talking together, it's called hubbub. She had paused, amazed, before the sweet meal. What is sweet meal? An item of confectionery food. So mithai basically. So she had paused, amazed, before the sweet meal stall to gaze. Gaze means to look steadily and attentively, especially in admiration, surprise or thought. To gaze at the brilliant honey confections abuzz with dust and flies. Abuzz means filled with a continuous humming sound. So they smelled wonderful, above the smells of drains and humanity and cheap cigarettes. At home, she sometimes tasted wild honey or crunched the syrup out of a stalk. What is a stalk? The main stem of a plant. Or crunched the syrup out of a stalk of sugarcane. But these sweets were green and magenta. I've given here the magenta color for you to picturize. So this girl at home sometimes tasted wild honey or crunched syrup out of a sugarcane stalk. But these sweets which were there in the sweetmeat stall were green and magenta, which attracted her. Then there was the cloth stall. You can see a cloth stall here. So then there was the cloth stall stacked with great rolls of new cotton cloth, stamped at the edge with the maker's sign of a tiger's head. So there was a tiger's head sign which was there at the edge of these cotton cloths, and smelling so wonderful of its dressing, straight from the mills, that Sibia could have stood by it all day. But there were other wonders to see. Satin swing with real silver thread, tin trays from Birmingham, and a sari which had got chips of looking glass embroidered into the border. So I've given here a picture of a sari which had chips of looking glass embroidered into the border. She joined the crowd round a Kashmiri travelling merchant on his way to the bungalows. He was showing dawn-coloured silks that poured like cream. Now children, I hope you know what are dawn-coloured silks. Dawn-coloured are all the colours that are seen in the sky at the time of dawn. That is orange, crimson, red, etc. So she joined the crowd round a Kashmiri travelling merchant on his way to the bungalows. He was showing down-coloured silks that poured like cream, because they were very soft, so they poured like cream. And he had got a little locked chest. You can see a locked chest here with turquoises and opals on it. What are turquoises? A bluish green semi-precious stone. You can see a turquoise here. And opals, that is a type of a gemstone. You can see the picture of opal too here. Best of all, a box which when you pressed it, a bell tinkled. Tinkled means make a light or clear ringing sound. So bell tinkled and a yellow woolen chicken jumped out. You can see the box here. So somewhat like this, there was a box, and when you press that box, a bell tinkled and a yellow woolen chicken jumped out. So children, these were the things in the market that amazed Sibia. So you read these slides over and over again to learn the items that she was amazed to see in the market for answering the questions. So this was the end of part 1, which describes the crocodile, the place where the crocodile lived, Sibia, how Sibia looked, what are the characteristics of Sibia, how she worked, what all things she liked, and this described also the marketplace. Now, please click here to watch our part 2 and part 3 of the same chapter, and please don't forget to write the keywords to get full marks in your English literature exam. Thank you and happy learning at Zenith Tutorials.